Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from Let's Stand Gamers, and welcome. So today we're taking a look at the latest update for the development build of Space Engineers. Now I have to say, it is like Christmas has come early. This update was so big, Aaron just had to have a look at it. There's so many features that have been added, and there's just so many, look, everything's been changed. It looks beautiful. We'll start over here. We'll have a look at the basic blocks. We'll work our way through them all, and I'll try to cover them quite fast so we can have a look at some more of the features that are in this update as well. So you can see the light armor block has been changed ever so lightly, so we can see that there's been some more scuff marks added to it, a little bit more detailing to some of the areas. It just looks a lot more crisp. You can see it on this large tile area. I like it when they make like rusty or rub marks on these blocks. It makes it feel a lot more realistic and dirty, like you could imagine it. Now if we continue on, we have some of the interior wall blocks on the top and on the side. It looks quite similar to before, a little bit more detail, as you can see. It seems to have more sort of a depth to it. It's got these like lovely shiny bits where you can imagine things have rubbed up against it. Now moving on to the ramp blocks. The ramp blocks had a lot more of these panel bits where it looks like different pieces of metal have been welded together to create such a part. So we've got the light armor there to the left and the heavy armor to the right. Not too much way of really seeing between them since there's no camouflage on them. Now moving on to this block. This is actually the remote control block. Just look at the detailing they've got on this. They're like rigid lines. They've got some screws that have been added on, and that central core you can imagine controlling as it slopes up into that vented area. Absolutely beautiful. So this is one of the fighter cockpits. Now not too much has changed inside, but we can have a look at the detailing. Some more detailing has actually been added to it. It looks a lot more crisper. And then on the outside, it looks like the cockpit sort of area's got a lot thicker. I don't know if this is going to be a big sort of favourite because these sort of lines were thinner before. You can't see as much out of the cockpit as you could in the past. And we'll move on to the other cockpit. So once again, the interior has been changed up. We've got these little purple screens in here for the moment, but that has changed. We can actually have a quick look around the outside of that as well. You can see some of the detailing on that cockpit. Quite standard to the similar design before. We'll move on a little bit further. So the next thing you'll notice about this is how the seats have actually been changed. We've got these two joysticks that look beautifully detailed. We've got a little bit of dirt and mud on there, so you can imagine someone's got up on here with dirty, muddy boots. And then there's a screen on top of there. So the sloped armor looks quite the same once again. It's just been better detailed with more of these armored slants and parts that really make an effect when you've got loads of armor going on together. So moving on to this next row, we have got a little cryopod. So the cryopod's been chained up. It looks like more like something from Tron here. We've got the central cryopod, and if we actually attempt to hop in it, we can actually access the menu as well. And something that they've done really cool to access these keypads now, you can just click with the left mouse button. And to access the inventory, you can click with the right. It's really nice. I'll show you a bit more when we go to the cargo container. So inside still looks exactly the same. We've got the old viewing doors. That's not too good. The med bay's been changed out. We've got a nice flat screen monitor. We've got this little medical badge that looks like it's been painted on really roughly above. I quite like the idea of that. Pretty cute. And then on the side here, we've got the medical area where we can change our suits and so on. So we'll continue walking a little bit further. Now into this area, we've got one of the main reactors. Look at this reactor door though, how they've changed it. It looks like it's got like this bar that you could imagine pull in. It'll pull out some sort of reactor fuse. So like I said, if we right click, it'll bring up the inventory of the item. And if we left click, it will bring up the inventory as well. So you have to, it's the difference between the actual access port and the control panel. So if we click on this, it'll bring up the sort of all the options of all the items that are on this block. But if we click on this, it'll bring us into the inventory of that particular block. Very nice idea. I like it. It's a lot faster to access rather than pressing keys. So we've got the smaller reactor here. Once again, we've got that sort of pull bar effect. Look at the detailing on this. Looks like it's been riveted in. It looks like it's heavily industrial. I really like that. We've got these like nice silver rings going around the outside there. So moving on to the solar panel. The solar panel's been changed up a little bit. It's been broken down into these little sections that I quite like the idea of. It looks like it could almost be folded away or something. Maybe something in the future. Or it could be folded down into the base. Quite nice indeed. The solar panels look a lot more realistic as well. If we get close to them, you can see how they've got that really detailed design into them. We've also got the battery block that's been, instead of its previous round one, it's been a bit more squared, and it's got like these carry handles that have been added onto the side. So you can imagine maybe a group of 4 space engineers lifting this block and moving it into a different sort of power bay. So if we just delete that a second, because we accidentally brought up the copy and paste menu. Now coming on to this one, this is a hydrogen thruster. It looks a lot more heavy industrial, more reinforced. Look at the detail into that thruster engine there as well. So obviously you can see each one of these little areas that supports that thruster. You can imagine this like sort of vector thrusting. I know it doesn't. And then we've got the tinier version down there below. That just seems like a smaller version of the large one. Now here is our atmospheric thruster. One of my favourite bits about this is just look at that jet sort of manifold inside, one inside each other. You can see like the heat has weathered that metal over the time, as well as a bit of dirt and grunge. Then up at the front we've got the fan, the intake, dirty once again, really nice. Oh, just imagine a space engineer walking. No, don't imagine a space engineer walking into it. So moving on to the next one, we have our ion thruster. Now the ion thruster itself looks like some sort of, it doesn't look like a thruster on a first glance, but when you look at the top you can actually see the pulsing at the top. It looks like some sort of cooling vent or some sort of pipe. Very nice bit of detail there, a few pipes going off on the side. I love the detail and the work they've done into this. So we've got some tyres now for the rovers, a large rover one, so you can see we've got more traditional tyre sort of tread, making our vehicles look a lot more meaty, and we've got that central hub. Very beautiful indeed. Now we've got the gyroscope. Now this gyroscope just like imagine that the central bit actually moves and animated, so you can see it's in that sort of shell. We've got access to the control panel there so we can adjust it. And now moving on to the next row, we've got the modules to speed up production, make power more efficient and so on. So there's not much really happened to these. They look quite similar, just been refined a little bit. Very simplistic, very nice indeed. We have the assembler, another one of these pull out sort of cores, and you can imagine these handles being used for moving each of these items around. And then we move on to the refinery itself. So the refinery itself has got these like things that I can't even imagine. You just have to kind of use your imagination to what they would be. Maybe some sort of processing unit to help refine the ores that maybe push in and up and down. And it goes up through this area. We've got a central pipe that runs up that's just got like this color changing effect on it. I really love the reflection of the sky around it. Some of these metal support beams, just so much detail into each one of these blocks. We've got the beacon, of course. The beacon's been changed. It's no longer square. It goes into this round sort of time cube with these supporting little strands at the side. Lovely. And then we've got the antenna itself. Now the antenna looks much more like an antenna, and I think it looks a little bit shorter. I could be wrong with that. I think it's about the same size. You've got this metal beam going up the center, and in there I wish they had some sort of wire or something going up from the base, but you can see each one of these is more detailed now. We've got these reflective ends with the yellow tips. Look at that. That looks so cool. And then up the side we've got the blue tips, and the kind of narrow down a little bit better. A lot more detail going on them. So we've got the laser antenna here. It looks pretty much the same, a little bit more reflective, and the base has been changed up ever so slightly. And now we move on to the cargo container. So the cargo containers are not as round as they used to be. Most definitely. They still say that they're 1x1x1 cargo container. A bit of dirt on that metal reflective bit up there. I do like that. Very nice. We've got the larger, and we've got a medium cargo container there for a smaller ship. The larger one, once again, looks like it could carry some sort of dinosaur in there. You could just imagine maybe in the future these like doors opening down or expanding on the sides somehow. I don't know. It just looks like it would work like that. So we've got the smaller turret here. We've got the ammo bay that we can access by clicking on that little strand, and we've got the turret controls there. Very nice indeed. We have the large Gatling gun. So the Gatling gun's been changed up a little bit. Has a different sort of barrel design. We've got a meteor storm inbound. Hopefully none of the items that I'm working on get destroyed. So as that meteor storm's coming in the background, we'll move on to the rocket launcher. Now the rocket launcher design I do like a lot better. It's got these like breaking points, I don't know, cut into the design itself, and the rocket pods have been recessed into that area, but the joint itself is just a lot better detail, as well as the stand where you would load the missiles in through. Then we've got the rocket pod for the large ship and the reloadable rocket pod for the small ship. Changed up a little bit in the idea that these holes are a bit more recessed and look like they're actually holes now, rather than just dark spots that have been put on the pod. We've got the reinforced little cliff bits as well, not the cliff bits, the girder railing reinforced armor bits. We've got the airlock doors. You can see how it says keep out on the side, and it says hangar door there. Look at them pistons. Oh, God, I love it. Meaty looking industrial items, don't you? So we've got a little door. Looks quite the same. I don't know if I prefer the other door, to be honest. It looks doesn't have the same feeling to it as the other door that I liked. We've got the interior corridor bit looking pretty much the same, and the drills have just been added more detail. Look at that. Oh, I could just imagine that munching down on some rocks as it comes into this area. These little recesses really add the details to these components. It says drill on the side there. And then we've got the grinder. Oh, just look how sharp they actually look now, as well as that little bit of dirt on the blade as they spin. And you've got that area underneath you. You can imagine the parts being ground into. Look at the exhaust or whatever that is, piping around the side. Then you've got the welders. The welders remind me of something from Fallout, I don't know, but like something you'd use to build some sort of synth. You've got these wires going up to the side, probably delivering high-powered energy, and you've got these like shock absorbers on the side there as well, probably to push in. Now, I'm not a big fan of the new warhead. Oops, I've knocked that over. It doesn't look as cool, but it does look like a mine. It looks like if these side bits were pushed in, that it would blow up. Let's have a quick look on the settings just to see if there's anything new on that. No, there isn't. So there's not like a sensor detonation of the mine. That'd be pretty cool. So there's some more armored doors. The armored doors have this new metal thing added into them. I like that. Look at that. It looks even stronger. There's the central armored door, as well as catwalks. Catwalks, yes. The catwalks were so plain and boring in the past, but now they've been fixed up with this little metal grid in the center. You can imagine the drainage goes into there and so on. These are going to be beautiful for your ships. And then we've got the stairs that have once been fixed up, so you can just imagine climbing up here now instead of that really simple mesh that they had before. Ramp again has been fixed up. We've got the pillar. Now the pillar doesn't look like that really basic block now. It looks like it could actually support something that's reinforced on both sides. The vent, not changed up too much at all, but the vent did what a vent did. Unless you could close that, that'd be really cool. Maybe an idea for the future. Now down here we have a sort of LCD that's angled to the side. We have the new sensor blocks, so the new sensor blocks have kind of been recessed in. The speaker looks pretty much the same except these extra circles in the center. The camera has got this new bracket on it, maybe a bit of protection, stop people vandalizing it. And it doesn't say camera on it either anymore, or does it? No, it doesn't. And then we've got a little control panel. Looks a lot nicer when you stick it to walls. Programming computer. The floor light, we've seen this before, not too much modeling going on there. The spotlight, oh, I'm not really feeling the spotlight. I don't like how it doesn't feel like a spotlight anymore because it's got this like base. It should feel like you could mount it and rotate it like the original spotlight did. So moving on, we also have the small interior light that's been rounded up a little bit. It's got like a better base to it. The sort of distraction device block, I can't remember what it was called. But it looks like it's got some really nice padding to it now. It's got each one of these individual cells that you can imagine taking different amounts of damage and armored protection. Then moving on to this nice little block here, we have the timer cube. So you can see we've got the green in the center. We've got these little brackets. I'm not sure what they are, like maybe carrying, disassembling. Comes into different components. Now the button panel itself is quite interesting. They've changed this up a little bit. A lot more detail going on to this. So if we actually just drag ourselves the airlock door, for instance, airtight door, and we just put that on open and close on that one, you can see how it's lighted up with the number 1 option, and we can press that and actually extend the airlock door up over here as well. So you can see that new centerpiece with these reflective strips. Wow, God, it just excites me looking at this stuff. So we've got the new LCD screen, a bit more going on the back of the LCD screen now, as well as the conveyors. Not too much changed. We've got a little bit of a different entrance door on the top, different sort of fall pit with these staples, and then we've got a different moving part on the side here. But they've just been reinforced. Everything feels more industrial to liken what I'm saying. So here's the oxygen tank. Pretty much the same sort of block. We've just got a few more details going around the edge. We also have a lovely little, what's this, oxygen generator block, as well as the oxygen gate. I feel like the vent's been shrunk down in size a little bit. Then we move on to the different rotor heads. One of, I'm not even sure what this is actually. What is this block? Is there any sort of control? I think that's some sort of rotor. I think it's a basic sort of rotor. It just needs the rotary head placed on. So we've got the piston, and then we've got the new landing gear. Look at that, it's got like a little bit of text on that. I wish that would change between different landing gears. That would be cool. I doubt it does though. And then moving on to this, we have ourselves the oxygen generator that actually has like plants growing and moving around in it now, so it's a bit more realistic. And finally we have glass without all them bloody scratches in, so you can actually see through it. Beautiful. Oxygen generator, gravity generator. Look at them little gravity orbs around the side. I'm just in amazement at this one. And now we've got this block that I'm actually not too sure what it is. Let me just double check. Oh, it's an artificial mass block. We've got the artificial ball. And finally we have the jump drive. Look at the jump drive. Look at the detail that's gone into this block at the side. We've got the various pipes going in. We've got this sort of thing that I could just imagine spin around. And we've got like this bit of purple and a vent, maybe to give off some of the gases or whatever this jump drive would cause. Anyway, let's keep looking around and show you some more features of this patch. So I've actually brought us up here to have a look at some of the damage to the ships as well as the character tools. So you can see this is one of the new assault rifle. We no longer have that old sort of G36 design. And you can just see some of the detailing on this rifle. So we've got warning, keep clear. Look how crisp it is up close as well. We've also got a SE automatic rifle print there at the back. We've also got, what's this? SE automatic rifle printed at the front. So let's switch through the other rifles. So this is, I believe, the more accurate one. The more accurate one comes with a scope. And you can see how it has the flips. And also has the precision written on the front. Very nice indeed. I quite like that. And let's just actually go to first person with this rifle, so we can have a look down. So yeah, we've got like a little holographic writing on the back of the rifle as well. It's great. So let's actually switch to rifle number 3. So this is a different coloured one. We've got like a green. This is the rapid fire model. So let's actually just go back to the character and fire this particular one. So it is the same. It's in like a burst mode. It's got iron sights.
Let's go to number 4. Number 4 is, I think, the Elite version. Let's just try that. Yeah, the Elite. You can see the detail on the side. It's got the holographic sight. So a few different versions of rifles. Maybe it's going to give us a bit of information of what's to come on these as well. What's it got written on the side here? More SE automatic rifles. So if we switched up a little bit and we go a few of the further for the tools, you can see some of the detailing on that. Look at that. It looks like a heated tip. Caution. Welding fumes may be present. We've also got the grinder. The grinder doesn't look like it's changed, to be honest, too much. It looks like it's got maybe an extra vent on the side. And then we've got the drill, hand drill elite. That looks like some sort of garden trimmer, to be honest, but it still looks beautiful. I don't know, I like the old drill. The old drill tip looks a bit more realistic. That reminds me of like a wood carver or some sort of like ice plugging tool. I don't know, maybe a drill will work. Let's have a look at some of the detail on here so we don't, before we get hit by a bloody asteroid. Do not open while machine is in operation. They've not put any like comedy Easter eggs on the side. Yeah, just it's pretty serious stuff going on here. Very nice indeed. I like that a lot. And let's just double check to see if we've covered all the character tools. That's all the character tools. So we'll go over to this little ship here. So another little detail they've put in is if you shoot at a ship with, let's just say, assault rifle, you see the bullet holes appearing like they did before. But if you now shoot at glass, you can see how the glass goes across there. When we hop in here, you can see the bullet holes have actually appeared on the glass from inside the cockpit, meaning that you can see when you're getting damaged or fired upon by a Gatling gun or something. So it keeps you a little bit more situational awareness that I like. Now the final thing I want to show is the ability to control the ship as well as controlling a single turret on the top. So we're simply going to access and control the turret on the top, and what we can actually do here is we can actually drive our ship at the same time as well as flying it. That is absolutely amazing. So first of all, so if we hold Alt down now, we'll actually get control of the actual ship, and we can control the ship, move it around and so on. And if we let go of Alt, we have control of the turret. So for instance, we want to control the ship again, we can hold Alt down and then let go and we control the turret. This just means you can do so much more. We'll be able to do these awesome little drone battles and control the vehicle at the same time without switching back and forth and making the controls all complicated. To finish that, we've got a few other features that have been added. The multiplayer has been completely redone once again, ripped out. Loads of new features have been added in. The building's been reworked, making it considerably a lot easier. From what I've tested out, the building system seems to be a little bit easier. Some of the problems that I was having in the past have been ruled out, but at the same time, you're just going to have to jump on and give it a go for yourself. And if you can't, I have to say, it's definitely an update that has made this game one step further in its development. Anyway, let's thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.